And here we go. Okay, we are back once again with another episode of the Uncivilized Art Podcast. I'm your host, Bandit Haze. I said my intro wrong. I'm your host, Bandit Hazan, but I go by Bandit Haze in the online space. I messed up my old intro.
I
think I said it slightly differently, but
don't worry.
I messed up my intro.
You want to start all over again?
Nah, it's all good. We'll leave it.
Okay, just leave it in. No edit.
Yeah, just pretend that. Pretend I got it right. We're gonna pretend I got it right.
Yeah.
I guess technically it's. Yeah. Alright, yeah, we are back with another episode of the Uncivilized Art Podcast, and I'm joined once again by the awesome Celeste Orchid. We're going to be talking about Bubble, the Netflix anime movie. We're going to be talking about that in as much detail as we can, get into all kinds of stories and plots and spoilers and everything else. Before that, though, we're going to do just a little bit of a brief non-spoiler review. Before that, though, Celeste, how's you doing? How's you been? What you been up to?
Hi, I'm doing really good. I just got done with a small mini event here in Denmark, and I had a really good time with my jewelry brand, Bunny Over the Moon. Yeah, it's actually a really fun time cosplaying and boothing my own stuff. But yeah, and of course watching anime and sometimes watching it without my son because that stuff is not good for kids.
Wait, anime is not good for kids?
Oh, I don't know. No. Just watch something like
that can't be true.
Devilman,
Yeah, that's plenty good for kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Devilman.
Let's see.
All that. The more violent, the better. The more bloody violent.
No,
the more kid friendly.
Absolutely not. If I'm currently trekking my way through this one called Made in Abyss, which I don't recommend it. I really don't, because I had to stop multiple times watching this to catch my breath. And it's worse because it's a very cute style show on these young 8-year-old kids. And I was like, oh, but yeah, I'm not subjecting my child to that yet. We haven't started Pokemon either because animal cruelty, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, Pokemon's kind of I guess it's not supposed to promote animal cruelty. I guess it kind of inadvertently promotes animal cruelty, right? I feel like it does it, accidentally. Like it's supposed to be about, hey, we just want to collect, cute little creatures, but then we stuff them in these tiny balls with all the other creatures, and where they got no space, and it's just suffocating. And
did you forget the whole Pokemon gym trainers and leaders and Team Rocket, all of the teams trying to take over the world? They use Pokemon to hurt and get their shit done.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, let's knock out this Pokemon and we're going to capture it. And then we got to take it to, a healing center. Well, you could have just, not attacked that Pokemon and just walked away. Instead, it's like, oh, wow, look at this cute little butterfly. All right, let's capture it in a net ball, make it suffocate, and we'll bring it to a hospital.
Yeah, call it out when you need it to defend you and kill for you, and I don't watch a lot of Pokemon, but I did like Team Rocket when they would come up because I had that cool song when it'd be like Team Rocket from out of sight, Jesse, James. I can't remember how it goes, but it was a cool song. They would be like, prepare for trouble, make it double.
You don't remember the Team Rocket chant?
Was it prepare for trouble, prepare for trouble, make it double. And it's like, Team Rocket, blast out the speed of light. Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Well, I remember it vaguely.
No, it's so simple. It's prepare for trouble and make it double. To protect the world from devastation, to unite all peoples within our nation, to denounce the evils of truth and love, to extend our reach to the stars above. Jesse James. Oh my God. And then
it's been a while.
To denounce the evils of truth and love. Not that you've done!
It's been a while. It's all right.
Yeah, to extend our reach to the stars above. Jesse James. Team Rocket, blast off at the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight. And then he goes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Then Boba Fett. Oh my God, I had the biggest brain fart, but I remember all of it.
Meowth wasn't kept in a Pokeball, was he? So perhaps Jesse and James are really the good guys. because they treated Meowth pretty well, if I remember correctly, right? They didn't
No.
keep him all cooped up, did they?
Meowth had his heart broken and just become a renegade Pokemon, and then he found Team Rocket, and he's like, I'll stick with these bozos. They're up to something.
Yeah.
His whole backstory was kind of sad, but
I might need to watch that again. But I feel like Team Rocket were probably nicer people than Ash and Brock and those guys.
I feel
like Team Rocket were the real good guys.
But it's okay. It's okay. Like, I just finished a brand new Pokemon cosplay. Hope you guys check it out on my YouTube channel, Celeste Orchid.
Please do, yes.
Check it out. I did the Pokemon champion, Cynthia. I had to think of, like, the region. I don't remember the region. But I just remember she's, like, the mega champion. And, like, not the champion to end all champions, but she's a Pokemon champion. And she's the one that you always remember because you have to fight something called a Spirit Tomb. And the Spirit Tomb is the one Pokemon that's a Ghost Dark type, which has no weakness. So you just have to have like a really boss-ass Pokemon to take it down. Also a Garchomp, which is a dragon that's like really mean. Not as mean as Erica's like Miltank. I forget. But if anyone played the Pokemon games and remembers Miltank and that fucking rollout going 7 times, and then you yourself catches a Miltank and it only goes twice, that's broken. Okay. I've been
was that the game? Okay, was that like a mechanic in the game? You know, like Pokemon games, though. There's like a million of them at those things.
I love it so much.
I know I played one of them, but I think it was like Pokemon Black or Pokemon White. I actually don't remember, but I know they've got like a billion Pokemon games, all named after different colors. And apparently they're all pretty much the same game, is what somebody told me. I don't know for sure because I've only played like that one. But somebody told me they're all pretty much the same game. They just put a different color at the end, like Pokemon Purple or something, Pokemon Turquoise,
yes
Pokemon
and
Burgundy.
No. Like, yes and no. The most recent iterations to come out is Pokemon Arceus, Pokemon Scarlet Violet. And those ones really broke the mold because it's open world Pokemon catching. So you don't really have to follow a storyline. I didn't play Pokemon Arceus, so... But I did beat the shit out of Pokemon Scarlet. Nope, I play Violet. My husband has Scarlet. So I beat the shit out of Violet because that was so much fun. Think of, like, you're playing Legend of Zelda right now. I saw you on stream.
Yes.
And
Breath of the Wild.
You're playing a Breath of the Wild. Imagine, instead of the little, like, pig fighty dudes, I totally forgot their names. Like, instead of them being like that,
yeah, those guys.
They're Pokemon just wandering wild and free, and you can engage in a quick battle, and then you can capture them. But they have this new function where you can let your Pokemon wander wildly and just auto battle. So it's just like, here you go off and play, and then it's like, oh look, a Pidgey. It's like, oh yeah, kick that Pidgey's ass. Oh, good job. And it's like, I got 6 EXP. Woo! And so it's just like, it's so brand new, and they have so many different things. The storylines change, obviously, but the games actually fall in different timelines, like in different universes, kind of.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it was all the same, like Ash Ketchum. I thought it was just Ash Ketchum and in all of it. Is it even Ash in those games, by the way? It's not, is it? Or is it?
It's not.
Is it Ash? It's not.
Nope.
It's some other dude.
Some other dude.
He just plays like random Pokemon trainer guy and with a cat.
Yeah, originally in Japanese it was supposed to be Satoshi, and then Satoshi is Ash, but later he actually meets like Trainer Red in like the championships, but he never gets to fight Trainer Red because like he doesn't win. And that's why, like, I think it was like last year, everyone's like, wow, Ash finally won his first major championship. It's like, wow, you suck balls. Should have taken some Rocky lessons.
Yeah, he's been doing it for like 30 years, so I guess it's about time or something, is it?
I'm glad that he had determination. They didn't give up on him.
That just goes to show you keep going. You never give up.
I mean, if someone says no, like, I don't feel the same way, you shouldn't keep persisting.
Oh yeah, I mean that. I mean, that's
is that cringe? I'm sorry.
That's the exception. You know, if she says or he says no, then you stop.
Yeah,
but
if anyone says no, cut that shit out.
Not non-human things. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you could
I guess.
assist.
Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned that you're doing the Bunny Over the Moon, the jewelry brand that you started. You started that I believe quite recently. Is that right, or have I just missed it completely? I'm only finding out about it recently.
Oh, so it started off in Los Angeles when I lived in Los Angeles back in
Okay.
2014 is when I started it officially. And that's
Yeah, I completely
because
missed
my
it then,
ex
my
was
bad.
like, you need to make more money. Maybe you can sell clothes. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that. But, why not? Like, I'm already making my clothes and I have so many clothes that I've made. Maybe someone will buy it. Well, it turns out it was really popular. Fast forward, I met my husband and then we moved to Denmark and then everything got put on hold because it's very expensive to buy shit in Europe. Mainly Denmark because we have a 25% sales tax. So that's really expensive just to buy like fabric and supplies to be able to make clothes. So I kind of pivoted back to jewelry making. And my biggest sellers are actually these like ear hanger things. I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah.
So they're like these things. They look like little hooks. Focus, camera. Focus. Love me. But they're like these little hangers. So I actually have a metal allergy on this ear specifically. So I don't wear earrings often anymore. But this is a good alternative if one, you can't have ear piercings. Two, you have too many ear piercings. Three, you have a metal allergy and you can't wear piercings. Four, you just want to look good. So it's really nice because I've actually had some people that have those like ear implants that go behind the ear. They're still able to wear these, and it's like really awesome because they're like really self-conscious. But I'm like,
So they're hook into your ear, right?
yeah. So here's like a small demonstration. You start at the top. I tell that to people, and then you just slide it around, and it sits in place. Ta-da! So now
That's
I'm
pretty cool.
super fabulous.
I might get a pair of those. Then I could be like Mr. T. But I
Yeah,
just
I
need to
got
grow
you.
out the mohawk.
Here, just grab it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, those are mine. Those are mine.
Okay, here. I have a pair. You want a pair? See, look, they match. But
Cool.
I'll see you, I am hoping to start taking it abroad, not just Denmark, because I have been making a good profit on it, and I'm really proud, because
Nice.
most small businesses don't make a profit in their first year. Granted, yes, my husband's helping with some of the costs, but those costs get back, I make enough money to pay back the costs and still maintain a profit. That's exciting!
But how was it like going from, because you demonstrated them at some conventions recently, so what's it like going from doing a cosplay at conventions to now being in a booth showing your jewelry at conventions?
Oh, it's the same. So I shouldn't say it's the same because you get bored eventually at a convention anyway. So then you're just sitting there bored, and it's like, now what? And there was a certain point where I started working for my friends' booths, and they were like actual dealers hall, like, oh look, we have plushies and we have figurines. So that wasn't like a big change for me, but I didn't do it often. But a lot of the times when I went to anime conventions, it was always for photo shoots, and it's just like, I shouldn't pay for a convention ticket just to be taking photos, not enjoying the convention. And
Right.
it's like, that's kind of like missing the point. And it wasn't until so much time where I'm like, if I really want a good photo shoot, I don't want bystanders in the way. I don't want to have to fight for my space. And it's just like, yeah, it is kind of nice when you have a nicer hotel, but it's easier for photographers to all be at one little congregation. So I actually really love my boothing. I like talking to people, interacting with them. This is the easiest way to make new friends and meet people. And I have this thing. I have this very special thing. So I didn't start this. Someone else started it, and I was like, this is kind of cool. So I offer these things called side quests. So I'm a merchant, but I am a quest giver at the same time. I'm not an NPC, bitch. So I'm like, if you want a discount,
gang.
yeah, exactly. Fucking entertain me, right? I don't fucking want to sit here and be bored. Oh, I'm so approachable. So, so what I do, I tell them the price. It's like, oh yes, this is 100 krona, and they're like, oh, that's kind of expensive. I'm like, well, if you want a discount, you can do it. Take a side quest, and they're like, a side quest, and I'm like, yeah, it's a little It's just a little piece of paper with something for you to do. If you want to do it, you'll get a discount. If you don't want a discount, you get a free you get a free gift. And believe it or not, so many people like doing it, and it's really cool. So I get very entertained, and they're not difficult challenges. Mm-hmm. They're very, I guess like user friendly, quote unquote. So examples are like if you have social media, post like on my comment section like 4 bunnies. I'm like, that's not hard. But if you're like a little kid trying to do it and your dad's paying, I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. So just take a different one. Some of them like have this or that. So it's like, show me your student card. But if you don't have a student card, tell me a joke. And it's like a lot of Danish humor. I just, no. No. But it's just really nice. And a lot of people just find a lot of joy in doing it. And I think one of my favorite ones is actually on my Bunny Over the Moon Instagram. If it's not, leave a comment down below telling me that I'm a liar. It's not there. And it's like, this girl really wanted this necklace set with some potion that I make. And it's like a small little vial, and it's just pretty. And she's like, I really want this, but this is kind of expensive. I'm like, draw your side quest and let me see what it is. And she got act like a fish. Holy crap, was this woman dedicated? I'm like, if you let me record you and post it on my social media, I will give you that at your price that you want. But it has to be good. And she's like, I'm like, I have to be really, really like laughing. Because it's act like a fish. What are you gonna do? It can't just be like one of these like bloob bloob, I'm a fish, or bloob bloob, I'm a fish. I'm like, no, like the paper says
dive in the water and like stay there for like 20 hours or something.
No. Like it says flop on the floor and act like a fish. So like a fish out of water. Wait. Like, do you understand like the prompt? So you have to kind of like be like a dead fish, like out of water.
Gasping for air. It was like
not like that. That's a seizure. You have to act like a fish though. So instead, she and her friend did it, and I was just like, "Holy fuck, this was so funny." So we shook on it 1,000%. Got my camera ready, and she like laid down on the floor and started pretending that she was like swimming on the floor like a fish, and I was like sold already. I'm like, I'm sold. And then her friend was pretending to reel her, and she kind of like wormed it like this and being caught. So it was really good. I was like, look, I was entertained. You did so good. You can have what you want at a price which was like half off, which is a lot. But I was so entertained. I was just like, I did that. Did you have a good time? They're like, I did. I feel embarrassed. I'm like, but it's a good time. You weren't hurt. You could have said no, but then you would have to pay full price. Or you just don't buy it at all.
That's a cool idea. I thought that's a cool idea. Like, you could give when you're selling stuff at, especially at conventions, like you say, this whole kind of side quest idea. You could have like these fun little games that people do. I thought that's a really cool thing to do, and you could post some of it on your social media, and and people could share it and see it, and it hope maybe generates a buzz or whatever. But yeah, it's just a cool idea. I like that.
Oh, thank you. And like, if they want to do more, I'm more than welcome to like letting them do that. And like, I give them a free sticker. So it's not something that I've designed. I just like bought a pack of stickers, and I'm just like, here you go, you got a sticker. And like, there was like one event in, what was it? Was it August? No. September? No. When was it? Shit, I don't remember. I think it was September. And I was like so popular that I had a queue forming for my booth just to hang out and like look at my jewelry, do side quests. And I was like so swamped. I'm like, oh, I'm like a celebrity now. It's like, did you know I was on TV too, bitches? That was years ago. It was over like 9 years ago. But anyways. Yeah, my business is really flourishing, and so many people are just like, you're so pretty and you're so much fun. I just want to give you a hug. I'm like, I'm more than happy to give hugs. I don't have a problem with it, as long as you're consensual. I'm consenting. Sort of. I just have to know who you
Well,
are
yeah,
first.
I guess what adults only, I guess, or
Oh no! So there's like this one little girl. She was so cute. She was like in a gothic Lolita dress, and she like put fake blood. And she's like, "Oh, what's a side quest? You have such pretty things. I don't know if I want to." And then she comes back with like all this other wares from someone else. I'm like, I don't really care. You look happy, and that's what matters. Like you're here at the event having a good time. If you're having a bad event, like I'm so sorry. That sucks. You paid to get in, and you're having a bad time. But she
yeah,
actually did 5 side quests. And she's like, I just want to do it for fun. I don't want any stickers. I'm like, are my stickers awful? She's like, no, I just don't want to take it from you because I'm just having such a good time. I'm like, oh my god, you're so sweet. And then I'm like, oh, you're so sweet. Like, can I give you a hug? And she's like, yes, I'd like a hug. And so it's really cool. Yeah, that's like one of those moments of just like, oh, I'm a good person. Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. So it's actually been a really great small little project on top of like the social media stuff. So it's been going great.
All right, the bunny over the moon. Yeah, definitely check that out, guys. Put some links in the description for that as well. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
before we move on, because we all so we're going to try and talk about this maybe in a full on podcast at some point.
Oh
But
yes.
maybe just a few words for now. Like, what's going on in the cosplay world? Like, there's
Oh.
little bit of things going on, a little bit of drama, a little bit of backlash, a little bit of
A little bit of Monica in our
nonsensories,
life.
and yeah, a
A
little
little
bit of that too.
Sandra under the sun. Like,
But yeah,
yeah, for sure. So New York Comic Con just happened. It was like here in October, like the 10th, 9th weekend of October 2023. If you guys are watching in the future, now you know. Yeah, it's a long time ago. But so the cosplay competition there is fierce. I actually won it back in the Yay Day. I think it was 2013. I won cosplay craftsmanship with my friend, and it's just gotten crazier and crazier. Like it has gotten so high level. And so this past one, there was a contestant who was so disappointed that they didn't get any award, any trophy, that they took it to social media and it just exploded. And yeah, there was a lot of backlash on just that kind of outburst and how unsportsmanship that was. Like, that's terrible sportsmanship. And it's
mm,
really disappointing to see other nerds tearing other nerds down. But you know that
mm,
happens. And that's kind of what's happening right now. It's really disappointing. But it happens. But not to this extent, because they created like a whole hashtag to tear down the winners. So
yeah,
that's like
that's
my multi run on length sentence.
yeah. I'm very much an outsider when it comes to the cosplay world. So I just saw the stuff that you were posting, some of the things that you were reposting as well about things that people said, and I'm kind of looking at it like, damn man, because I guess when you're not in the world, you just kind of assume certain things. Like cosplay to me is always kind of seen as everybody's having fun, everybody's having a good time, and of course I imagine you get always going to have a sore loser here and there, but you never kind of think like it's going to be like as big as it is. But it seems this time around apparently it's kind of like that with the New York Comic Con. Apparently years prior, people have been like really sore about losing, or had some really horrible things to say about the winners, and people feel. I think I read one comment about a lady who won it maybe a few years ago or some years ago, and feeling like she couldn't wear that dress again because like people just like
Oh yeah,
jumped on her so much. And I'm looking at this like, damn man, that is so bad. That is horrible that people
absolutely.
would
That's actually
do
my
that to
home
somebody else.
slice. Yeah, that's my home slice. She's one of my besties, and she's one of the ones that actually won with me when we won New York Comic Con. And she goes back and like she competes every once in a while for it, and she won like a few years later solo. And it's a giant dress. It is by far no easy feat to pull off one of the designs from that creator. And it's just like she did upgrade it. She did take it and she like used it for photo shoots, but she's like, I can make this better, and she elevated it, and then she took it to New York Comic Con, and then another contestant was just saying like, oh, it's just a dress. I made like armor and a prop. Like, why didn't I place over her? And it's just kind of like, you don't. A lot of people don't understand how hard it is to sew, and then like the finishing techniques to make it look like a professional garment created for like movies and such. So it's just really disappointing to see someone saying like, oh, I deserve to win this and I deserve to win that. At the end of the day, you didn't win, but you have to understand it's a 50-50 chance because you don't know who's competing against you, and you can only know that you're putting your best foot forward. Now, if you know that you didn't put your best foot forward, you're probably going to be at 90%, like you're going to lose. So
yeah, I think that's about accurate. I mean, at the end of the day, if you know that you did the best you can, you got nothing to be ashamed of. You know, at the end of the day, it's like people are going to pick a winner based on this, that, and the other. I mean, I don't know what the criteria is, so I don't want to talk like I know, but you know, people are going to pick a winner based on whatever it is. Whether it's their opinions, whether that's a particular thing that they're looking for, I don't know, but they're going to pick a winner based on that. And if you, and yeah, maybe you think this person should have won or that person should have won. Everyone's going to have their opinion on these sorts of things just anyway. That's kind of part of it. Maybe you like this costume better, and that's the one that you thought wasn't as good, ended up winning. But then it just is what it is. Like you say, if you, as long as you know you did the best you can, you didn't lose. You just didn't get the trophy, you know. But you could always go home knowing that you did the best that you could. And there's no shame in that, you know. It just is what it is. But if you didn't do the best you could, then that's on you. You know, that's on you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Like, you enter a competition knowing you can very well lose, and if you don't think that, then you definitely should not be entering a competition. Like, it's just kind of this weird topic of like, oh, but one judge prefers this versus that, and then this judge is biased towards sewing versus armor making, or this judge only knows wig making. What really bothers me, like, I know we're going like spiraling now. Like, it's really bad when conventions don't hire actual masterclass cosplayers to judge the event, and that's where you have the biggest problems, because if you have someone that's an influencer who buys their cosplays and doesn't know anything about craftsmanship, that is like the biggest slap to the face of any contest. Like, anyone entering that contest. Not only are these attendees giving you free entertainment for the rest of the attendees, you sacrifice all that time just for them to be slapped in the face by someone who doesn't know anything about cosplaying, only like the social media marketing. And it's just like, that's not what they're coming here for. They're coming for a craftsmanship competition. That's like saying, I know how to make a table out of Legos versus I can make it out of a tree standing right here. And it's just like, that's completely two different things, son. Like, this is already pre-built. You just have to like stack the little Legos together. Like, good job. Yeah, you had to buy the package anyways. But if you get someone that takes the source material and then creates it into like a lavish outfit garment, like the whole piece, like that's not right. You have no qualifications to judge. And I know, because I am a master class, okay? If I've won New York Comic Con craftsmanship, like legit, and I've won Anime Expo, like, I have my credentials. I've been doing this for a long time, so no one can come for me. So yes.
All right.
Another podcast, but
yeah, we'll get more insight into a different podcast.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, definitely,
don't
there's a
be
lot
no
to talk about.
influencer bitch without actually making your costumes if you want to like judge the competition. Cool, yeah. But yeah, there's the tea being spilled and thrown and spilled everywhere for that, and I'm just like, ah!
Yeah, so we'll definitely a lot to be said about this particular topic. So we'll try and do another podcast dedicated to it. We'll arrange that. But a little bit of info for now, at least, so we kind of know what's been happening lately. But yeah, before we move on real quick, though, I mean, I don't know, should I say what I've been doing, or will we just be talking?
Wow, we're not moving into the topic.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Red, I've been playing Breath of the Wild recently. I actually started playing that originally years ago, back when it came out, and I got quite far into it, but I ended up getting stuck somewhere. And you know what it's like when you get stuck and you kind of pull it down for a little while, and then a little while becomes more than a little while, and then it
Yeah, and
becomes
then you try to
forever,
come back and you're like,
and
what?
then you right, exactly. It's like, what am I even doing here? So eventually, I just thought, let me just start it again, and that's what I've been doing. So to start that again, and been playing that, and hopefully can actually get through it this time. But I did get through Final Fantasy VII finally.
Which one?
After
Like the OG?
the first, yeah, the OG one.
Oh, the best.
25 years
so
later.
Good. Did you get
20...
everyone? Did you get
I
get all
didn't
the secrets?
actually. I got, I guess, most of the characters, but apparently there's a guy called Vincent that I didn't get.
my prince.
So yeah, I didn't get him, and I think it's maybe one other that
if
I
it
didn't
ain't
get.
Sephiroth, it's Vincent.
But yeah, I guess I got everybody. So of course, Clouds you can start with, Barrett, Tifa, who's the girl that the one in the pink, the flower lady. I got her. Eris, Red 13, Sid, Kate Sif. Well, apparently that's pronounced KC. I forget how it's actually pronounced.
It was right. It was Kate Sif.
Because apparently, I saw somewhere that it's actually an Irish Gaelic name. So it's the pronunciation is not actually Kate Sif. It's like Kath Sif or something like that.
I could have swore. It's
but yeah,
pronounced
I got
Kate
him.
Sif. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's Scottish Gaelic, plural Kate. Kate. Okay, give me a second. I'm here at Wikipedia. Is there an etymology?
I think that's everyone I got, by the way. Did I get anybody else? I think that's everybody else, actually.
It won't pronounce it for me. Okay, well, it's Kate Sif for me for now and forever.
Yeah, like I was listening to a podcast, and they were saying that in the new Final Fantasy VII, the voice actors pronounce it Kate Sif, but the guy who it was on what podcast was it? It was like the Sacred Symbols podcast. But somebody wrote into their podcast saying that although they pronounce it Kate Sif in the new game, the voice actor says Kate Sif in the new game, because it's I think it said Irish or Gaelic or maybe Scottish Gaelic. Actually, Scottish Gaelic, but it's actually pronounced something else. And he did say how it's pronounced, but now I can't remember. But yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So if you go with the Scottish Gaelic version, that is Kate Sif. Yeah, Shith, so Sif. But if you do it Irish, it's Kate C. So it depends on what location.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, Ketchi.
Yeah, like so depending on what you want to go with, because if you're like Japanese, it'd be like Kate Sito. You know what I mean? It wouldn't even be the same thing. Probably in like Morocco, it'd be like not the same. Because I don't even speak like what they speak in Morocco.
And I've been saying Kate Sif for all this time because I guess I didn't even think to look it up really, because you just see everything, whatever, right? But I guess you don't know until you know. I guess that's the thing, isn't it? You don't know until you know. But yeah,
I mean, until they have it actually translated with voice actors, you can call it whatever you want. Because when I was a kid and I found out about Sephiroth, I called it Sephiroth. And I didn't.
Sephiroth, yeah.
It sounds pretty cool,
that
though, right?
Sounds better than Sephiroth.
Yeah, he's pirate. Look at him with his long hair and black trench coat. Oh god, so hot. But anyways, yeah. Did you get Yuffie?
I didn't get Yuffie.
Well, then you didn't get the whole cast, now did you?
Yeah. So there's at least 2 people I didn't get.
You missed 2 key characters.
I beat the game with 2 less people. Then that's something, right? That means I'm pretty hard.
But that is hard. That is very hard.
I mean, it only took me 25 years, but still.
You did it. Determination, you know. We talked about that earlier.
Never
30
give
years getting it there. Why did we say
Never give up. Unless, she says no.
I mean, it's just a video game. You can say no, but you should be able to persevere. Especially one of the most iconic games of all time. It made it into Smash Brothers. Come on.
Indeed, man. But it's finally something I can tick off my games to complete list. That's been bugging me for a long time. So I can finally be like, you know what? That's done. That's done. Good.
I forced my husband to go through it, and he actually had a fun time doing it. And I made him fight all the ultra bosses.
Oh, those I didn't even bother those. I did a few of them, but yeah, a lot of them I was kind of like, you know what?
Wait, did you fight the ruby weapon and emerald weapon?
I can't remember the names of the weapons, but I know I fought one of the weapons.
Yeah, you're supposed to fight one of them so you get Cloud's ultra weapon, like his final weapon. It's the white one.
Okay, I don't think I
But
did
the
that
green
then.
one is underwater, and then the
Oh
red
yeah,
one is in the
I fought that
desert.
one, but I didn't beat it. He just yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I did find that weapon. I didn't. I tried. I went against him, and it was like, nah, this is over.
No. I hate
This is
fighting
over.
them. It
This is
ruined me as
over.
a child, and now that we have the power of the internet, thank God. Because that shit just no. But now it's
But yeah,
time for you to play Final Fantasy VIII, and I would love to do a podcast on that. Make sure to click the link down below when we have that ready.
all right. So
I've
we got to
poured
get through
about
Final Fantasy
500
VIII
hours
now.
into Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, so
Just
you're
FYI.
pretty well versed on it. Okay, cool,
Oh,
cool.
yes.
I,
Yes. My
all
favorite
right.
Final Fantasy of all time.
Look out for Final Fantasy VIII
Best Final
podcast.
Fantasy ever.
Takes me a while to get through. You know, it took me like 6 months, I think, to get through Final Fantasy VII because I effectively just played it little bit by little bit over the last 6 months. You know, because I don't always get a lot of time to play games, so I kind of committed. I'm gonna play a bit when I can, a little bit when I can, a little bit when I can.
Yeah,
And it was about six,
it's
maybe
not a big
7 months.
I will very. You want to
You
know something
know,
funny?
what's that?
Okay, so one of my friends, we were like just hanging out at an anime convention, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. A lot of people, I like, we were talking about like people just like trying to swoon people, and like, oh yeah, I don't think that person knows how to swoon, blah blah blah. We were just drunk talking, and yeah, it's like, no, Marissa, you're like an open book, and I'm just like, what do you mean? And then my friend, he looks at me dead in the eyes, and he just goes, takes my hand. So, takes my hand. It's like, I would love to get a pizza and just talk about Final Fantasy VIII for all night long. And I'm like, oh, sold! Let's go! Where's the pizza?
Pizza and whoa. I mean,
Whoa!
pizza
Whoa!
and Final
Oh,
Fantasy VIII.
I got the vapors!
I don't know. I'd have been happy with just the pizza, but he's going to talk about.
But Final Fantasy VIII, my favorite. Like, if you want me to fangirl, it's. Yeah, okay. Calm down. I love Final Fantasy VIII. It's just a masterpiece of a game. A lot of people sleep on it, but at the same time, I love it for the story. The gameplay is like meh. It's okay, but it's a good game. Like, I think it's a great game. It's not for everyone. It's okay. I understand that, but don't tell me I'm wrong when I know you just have bad taste.
All right, cool. I'd have to commit some time to Final Fantasy VIII, maybe in about a year, so we could talk about that.
Oh, no worries.
Takes me
I've
ages to
beaten
get through
it
stuff, but
like
we'll
so many times.
look
I
out for that
I love
eventually.
that game.
All right then. So yeah, let's move on a little bit.
Still spiraling down and not the main topic.
Yeah.
Shall we
Let's
go
talk
back to my
about,
jewelry brand?
We can actually. In fact, actually, I guess we can. It kind of fits into. I was thinking, does it fit into Bubble? Can we fit Bunny Over the Moon into Bubble?
Oh, did I not tell you like the name reason or anything? Did you want to know why I named it Bunny Over the Moon?
Okay, why is it called Bunny Over the Moon?
Oh, see, look at that. Segueing back. Woo. Promo plug. Yeah, so, there's like the term bunny for like pretty women. Like, oh wow, she's just a beach bunny. Oh, she's a snow bunny. Because like you always see her at the beach, XYZ. So like I thought bunny of kind of like a very attractive person, period. So I use that. I also love bunnies. They're one of my favorite animals. But I chose Over the Moon, not just because I like the moon. Like, I have a tattoo of the moon and a bunny on my ankle. That's not the reason why. But whenever you're really happy, they say you're like over the moon,
Right, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, when you know that you're really happy, sometimes your face turns red. And that's when you know, like, wow, you're like feeling yourself. You got your oats in a basket and like you're ecstatic. So that's why it's Bunny Over the Moon. You're a very beautiful person and you're like extremely happy with yourself. So it's a message of positivity. Like, if you buy from my brand, I hope it invokes that kind of emotion. If you support my business and then you have a nice piece of art from me, that's wearable. Still clap.
You could be a happy, pretty person.
But a happy, pretty person.
Happy, pretty person.
Is there another word for happy that starts with a P? A pleasant, pretty person?
A pleasant, pretty
I
person.
don't think pleasant's the right word. But yeah, so...
Oh, positive, pretty person. Yeah,
Like
that's too many syllables.
I was like, you could be like positive, like in a bad way, like COVID positive.
Yeah, like yeah. Mm.
Nah, nah. Yeah, but like a very ecstatic, like happy person. So, and it happens like sometimes when, because like a lot of people have never seen like ear hangers before, like this. Sometimes it's like a cuff or like one of those ear like covering shits, but it's not like behind the ear. So they like, I'm like, here, you have to try it on. You have to try it on so you know what it's like. They're like, holy shit! Wow.
Actually, can they be worn for a long time? Like that hooks. Like, do they? I mean, do they hurt your ears after a while, or do they like get uncomfortable,
Oh
or
no no
how
no!
they after?
They are so comfortable. Even like a lot of my heavier ones. Let me see. You a heavier one? Yeah. So this one's like pure metal, but I like this one. This one wouldn't make me have a problem. Unlike the ear cuffs, the ones that you like push on your ear here, those usually hurt because after a while because it's pinching. This no, it's like a hanger on side, like a curtain rod in your closet. Like
Okay,
it
so
doesn't
just
hurt. It's just
cool.
natural, which
Okay,
is
that's good to know.
clear.
That's good to know. All right then. So from bunnies to bubbles.
Bubble.
Um, yeah, we're going to talk about Bubble, the Netflix anime movie.
Here we are,
Um,
main content.
and yeah, here we are here. We're going to get to all kinds of spoilers and whatnots in a little bit. Just before that, though, just before that, for those who might not have seen Bubble on Netflix and are considering whether they want to watch it or not, what would your non-spoiler basic opinion slash review of it would be?
Okay, it's extremely pretty. Like I think it's one of the best like animated. I don't know if it's like computer animated, but I imagine that there is some computer animation in it. But it's definitely like an apocalyptic, pretty Tokyo that you wouldn't mind living in. But it's just like how you see. How should I say this? Like it's an apocalyptic living Tokyo that you could foresee it happening in the future, but not on like the science fiction level or like fantasy fiction level. And it's just really pretty in another sense, but it's like don't like dive too deep and try to like really like break down the science behind it. It's just cool and it's just like a nice little fantasy like apocalyptic Tokyo show movie.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. You know, it's definitely very aesthetic. I will say that for myself, I mean, it's probably not even probably. It is the type of movie that I wouldn't normally watch. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I watched it. You know, on your recommendation, and so yeah, it's the type of film that I think that had you not mentioned it, had you not told me about it, I probably would just skip past it. You know, I would have maybe seen it, but yeah, would have just like glanced over it, and that's about it. But yeah, having watched it, um, it's kind of weird because I would say that I feel like I understand it and don't understand it in equal amounts. You know,
Yes.
and I'll get more into why I feel that way in a little while. But yeah, it's definitely very aesthetic. You know, the art style, the colors, and you know, a lot of the direction that they took is, you know, and just the way they've kind of drawn this version of Tokyo and the bubbles and the destruction, but also the beauty and the destruction as well is really cool. But yes, it's an interesting film. That uh, actually, let me say some of that for the spoiler section. But yeah, it's an
Okay.
interesting film. I think um, if you're someone like myself who's maybe more into like action and you know stuff like that, um, then I don't know if I'd definitely recommend it. But yeah, I mean it's worth checking out. It's definitely not something I think you'd watch and feel like you just wasted your time.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, it's definitely not
absolutely.
that. You know, so I don't know if I'd say like must see but it's a pretty interesting film that I think most people can get something from. You know,
Right. Because, like, it does have a little bit of romance in it, but it's not shonen at all. Like, I've watched a lot of sports animes, and sometimes, like, the sports will carry you through it, but this doesn't really have that feeling of, like, oh, it's a sports anime that will give me that adrenaline to make me, like, keep watching it. It doesn't give you that spike for it, but it's just kind of, like, leaving you puzzling, like, where is this going next? Where is this going next? And it's just really interesting in that aspect of, like, but you're supposed to focus on the bubbles. So it's just really different from, like, what you would normally expect when you see, like, the main characters or, like, the type of cast and what they're wearing, as opposed to, like, oh, like, this is my stereotypical thing, which it is kind of romanticized in this way, but it's not like, oh yeah, everyone has to see it. It's not like Redline. Redline's amazing. Yeah, if I was gonna have to say, like, watch Redline or Bubble, watch Redline. And then if you have a time to watch Bubble, watch Bubble. But it's a good, like, chill movie if you had, like, a hard day and you just want to zone out without something, like, too hard on you.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's not heavy like that. It's kind of lighthearted. Well, I don't know if lighthearted is the right word to use, but yeah, it's not too intense to where you just kind of like, man, I can't watch that. I need to be in a particular mood to watch it. You can just kind of put it on and just chill.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right then. Well, let's talk about it in some more detail now. So this is your warning. We're about to get into spoilers. If you've not seen Bubble, you may want to watch that first and then come back to this section of the podcast episode. Once you've done that, make a timestamp thingy, make a note of when it's part of it, pause it or whatever and come back later. But if you have seen it, or if you just don't care about spoilers, then yeah, we're about to continue. So, with that said,
here we go!
Celeste Orchid, as the one who suggested, what's this movie? What was it about this film that you felt like this is something that you want to talk about? Like, what grabbed you? Oh my
god! I wanted to talk about it because the live-action Little Mermaid came out, and this story is based off of the Little Mermaid segue, and it's just kind of like it actually kind of follows more suit to the Hans Christian Andersen story of the Little Mermaid, as opposed to what our Disney perspective is. And I've seen a lot of iterations of the Little Mermaid. I know what happens in the Little Mermaid from Hans Christian Andersen, but it's just like, not only is it really pretty, not only is it anime, not only is it inspired by Danish stuff, it's just a really different take to see in media, because the ending is not a pleasant one. Like, it kind of gets there, but it's not. So yeah, it was a layer of things. Not only is it anime, the live action Little Mermaid came out. It is based on the Little Mermaid, so yeah.
Yeah, so this definitely takes a lot of inspiration from the Little Mermaid book, and I guess this is part of the reason why I felt like I understood it as much as I didn't understand it, because I'm not familiar with the Little Mermaid at all. I've never read the book. I've not seen any of the movies, the Disney movies, or the old school Disney movies, or the recent Disney movie. I've not seen anything. I mean, I know basically the Little Mermaid story, but outside of that, yeah, I know next to nothing about the Little Mermaid, and this takes a massive inspiration from that. And I did look up Little Mermaid on Wikipedia to try and get a better understanding of what happens.
Do you want the TLDR version?
But yeah, that might help actually. What's
okay, so the Hans Christian Andersen version, the Little Mermaid actually found out that she doesn't have a soul. So that's why mermaids don't really die, and if they die, they just turn into sea foam. And that's if they just get really old or something, but they don't technically die. So she wants to have a human soul, and that's why she goes to the Sea Witch. Sea Witch is like, oh, well, if you want to be a human, you gotta split your mermaid tail in two. She's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do that. And she's like, okay, well, you gotta do this, not really losing your voice. That's a Disney thing. And so she cuts her tail in two with a dagger, and then she finds this, like, she saves this guy. No, sorry. Let me TLDR this correctly. So what happens is Little Mermaid finds out she wants a soul. She saves Prince, and then she's like, "Oh, can I get a soul like him?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can be like his lover or something, and then you can like kill him and get his soul, and then you can have a soul too." And so she goes to the Sea Witch. She's all like, "Hey, I want to become a human so I can get a soul." And she's like, "Okay, well, you got to kill another soul to get a soul." And that's why she has to go to the prince. It's not because she fell in love with him. It's like, no. She just wants a soul. It was never about finding love. So then she goes on land and she's like actually falling for this guy. And she's like, "Oh, yay, so happy, blah, blah, blah." And then comes time for her to kill him. And her sisters are like, hey, like, if he doesn't realize, like, he loves you and he kisses you and gives you part of his soul, here's the dagger, and just stab him in the heart, and then you can become a mermaid again. And her sisters, like, cut off all of her hair, which is a mermaid taboo. Like, you don't cut your hair as a mermaid. So, yeah, the Sea Witch is like, he has to love you, and then he'll give you part of the soul. And then the sisters were all like, yeah, we'll cut our hair off so you can stab him and, like, get your mermaid shit back. And so the Little Mermaid was all like, "No, I can't do that because I actually do care about him." So she threw the dagger into the ocean, and then she became sea foam. But then, like, wind spirits took pity on her, and then she became a spirit of the wind. And they're like, if you do, like, 1,000 good deeds and, like, shit, you can have a soul. So...
does she do 1,000
Little Mermaid bitch wants a soul. Saved a human. Sea Witch was all like, fall in love and he'll give you part of his soul. And then she's like, became human. And then she fell in love and then starts bleeding all over the place from her legs, like her feet. And then her sisters cut off their hairs so they can all be like, here's like a dagger. We sold it to the Sea Witch. So we got a dagger for you to stab him. And then he finds his true love, someone else who he thought saved her, and it's like, this is a neighboring princess. She's like, okay, yeah, I guess that's me. I don't know. She never said no, not telling the truth. So Little Mermaid died, became sea foam. But then wind spirits were all like, yo, we saw what you did. You're kind of cool. You want to hang with us? That's cool.
But if she did, did she do the 1,000 good deeds, or is that's just where it ends and you never find out?
Oh, yeah, that's just where it ends. It just says if you like, I think Hans Christian Andersen said, like, if you feel like the wind blow at you after you've done a good deed, that's a Little Mermaid, like, telling you you've done something good or something. But yeah, that's up to interpretation.
Shame. Yeah, I think in the Disney version, like, she falls in love with the prince and they get married or something, and
yeah, so the Disney version is so different. She's in love with human shit, like any kind of human shit, because she's just fascinated by shit. It's cool. And then she saves the prince who is drowning from a shipwreck, and then she's all like, "Look, it's a human! Oh my god, I'm not supposed to do this, taboo shit. Wow, I'm cool." And she's like, "Well, no, I actually like him now. He ain't that bad." And so she goes away and she's like, "I'm in love with him. Oh my god, my teenage heart." And then, she goes off to the Sea Witch because her daddy's all like, "No," and blows up her cave full of human stuff. And then she's all like, "Please make me a human so I can see my cute man." So then he's like all with her. And then Sea Witch notices she's getting too cozy with him. So she's like, yeah, I better put a cap on that. So she uses Little Mermaid's voice, enchants the prince, starts to, like, engage marriage shit. And then they bust that wedding up. Little Mermaid gets her voice back. And then they kill the Sea Witch. Then they get married.
They kill a Sea Witch?
Yeah, she dies.
In the Disney one? Oh, okay.
In the Disney one, she dies in both times. Both live action and animated.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler. But we already said that there were spoilers.
I was just surprised they killed somebody. Then again, I don't know. They've killed people in Disney movies before, I suppose.
Well, okay. I don't know if you know this, but Disney's really fond of killing shit. Like, the biggest thing that they've done is release Dinosaur, an animated movie in, like, the early 2000s. And they actually destroyed, like, an entire continent. because
I
it's
don't think
called
I saw that
Dinosaur.
Disney. Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean that. Yeah.
But
Actually,
that's a
yeah, I
lot
did
of death.
see there was definitely in the Lion King. Actually, to be fair, like
Yes,
was it
there's a lot
Simba's
of death in The Lion
daddy
King.
died and
Mufasa died.
yeah, Mufasa gets
Like the
eaten.
entire Pride Lands died.
Yeah. Okay, no, fair enough, fair enough. I'm forgetting there's actually is a lot of death in Disney movies. I'm forgetting, but yeah, there is.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Yeah, there's a lot of death in that one. Mulan. Yeah, the entire Hun army, the entire general army, the small village. That's only a little bit. We don't know how much Shan Yu destroyed.
Yeah, I guess it's because like Disney movies tend to have like a very kind of kind of kid friendly kind of image. I guess it's easy to forget that yeah, there is actually a lot of death in there.
Oh yeah. Only
There
a
is a lot of
few
death.
movies don't have death that I've seen recently
Is
that
it?
are like of the old animation, and that's well, nope, Snow White has death because the old evil queen dies, but Sword in the Stone and Robin Hood
And
and
Toy
Fox and the Hound.
Story. Wait, Toy Story. Wait, you said old school animations or?
Yeah, old school animation. I'm not talking about
Okay, never mind,
CGI.
never mind. Yeah, never mind, never mind. Yeah.
Cinderella as well does not have it.
Yeah. I guess those were ones made back when Disney just did not give a fuck.
I mean,
These were
I
like,
love
yeah,
old school
kids can
Disney.
take it.
Like,
Kids
let's
can
go.
take it. Kill this bitch. Kill him. Kill them all.
It's like, oh, here's the evil witch. Fucking
Yeah.
kill her!
Kill him. Kill him. They got to like, I don't know, 1999 or something. They were like, no, kids can't take killing no more.
We need to kind of stop killing bitches. No, oh my god. Okay, quick mini rant, like, if you allow it. Okay, so as I've just said, I've been rewatching a lot of the old school Disney, like, for starting movies. And it's like, a lot of these people are like, oh, Snow White's just like someone waiting for someone to, like, come save her. It's like, well, I mean, how would you feel if your mother makes you dress in rags and cleans the entire house by yourself and, like, treats you like shit? Actually, there's a lot to learn about Snow White. There's a lot to learn about Sleeping Beauty. It's not about all Disney princesses not having their own strength. And even rewatching the old classic of Cinderella, holy crap! I just even felt like she's my favorite princess, but it just like went to the next level now that I'm like older and I'm a mother. So I was like, wow, I love this bitch because she got multiple outfits. She got an outfit from her mice and bird friends making that shit for her, and then she got one from her fairy godmother, but superfluous. But actually, she was a really good person. She was like, everyone has to get along. She was teaching harmony and being kind, regardless of how like people were like popping off at her and being rude and like being so cruel to her. And it's just like, oh, I think people misunderstood that. And when you see the new movie, I didn't watch it. That's something that they did focus on about like Cinderella actually being more calm and having an identity of like really bringing that to life, of being nice and friendly to others and like internalizing that like peace. But in the animation version, she was actually very vocal of like, hey, were you chasing the cat? Oh, well, that sounds nice, but that's bad. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that. And she's like, Lucifer, stop attacking the mice. They didn't do anything wrong. That's bad. Like, we gotta live in harmony. And then all of her sisters are like so mean to her, but she doesn't raise her voice at them. She doesn't raise her voice at her stepmother either. And it's just like, oh, that's really nice of you because you're treated like a servant, but they're actually your family. And it's just like, well, anyone learning this one? Same with like Snow White. So we're going back to Snow White now. Like, what was her lesson that she wants to teach us? And it's, well, if you're being killed by your family, like, hunted by your family, you can actually find help from others and then, do that. But actually, Snow White was probably really clean. So the old queen was using lots of makeup that made her look bad. And back in the day, like, old makeup was actually using mercury, which actually made your skin worse. So she was probably aging really terribly, versus Snow White constantly cleaning her and stuff, like, and cooking and cleaning. She probably ate really well. didn't have any like skin problems, so that's why she probably looked good, not despite being young, you know. And then when she actually went to the Seven Dwarfs for help, she wasn't like, oh, I need help because I just don't know what else to do. She's like, well, I know how to cook and clean, and if you need a housekeeper, I can at least pull my weight. And it's like a princess pulling her weight because she has nowhere else to go, and she asked her animal friends to help her find a place to go. So it's like she's actually pretty damn resourceful to be able to go from, oh my god, I'm about to be stabbed by my cruel mother's henchmen, to, hey, I found a place to live. I can provide for myself and my friends and keep this place clean so there's no freaking cockroaches. So it's just like, how many people out there can actually say, oh yes, I know how to properly clean my house, or I know how to properly like maintenance my body? Because she's like, oh, you guys, it's supper time now. Go wash. And they're like, we don't need to wash. She's like, let me see your hands. And they were like fucking filthy. She's like, yeah, that's awful. You can't fucking eat with dirty hands. And it's just like, yeah, COVID.
Man, like I was, bro. Or I thought it was like, yeah, COVID. It's like, okay.
Well, I mean, a lot of it could have stopped being spread if we just like washed our hands better. You know what I'm saying?
Well, true.
And
true,
I think
true.
Snow White has a point to make with proper hygiene.
Well,
and it's just like, everyone's like, no, she was just waiting to be kissed. It's like, no, this bitch knew how to cook. She's a princess. She knew how to clean her house. What? This is like a normal person needs to know this. But she's a princess. So it's like, you can be a princess, but still maintain good hygiene, good living space, and like good food. A lot of people just miss that. And it makes me disappointed. Because everyone's just like, oh, modern princesses need to be stronger. I'm like, no, they don't. Bitches still need home ec. We don't have a home ec. Okay, that's my rant.
Yeah, you know what? I think what it is, we're gonna have to do like a podcast on Disney princesses as well. So,
okay. Segue into.
We might have to do that one of these days, because apparently you got a lot to say about those too. So we'll have to. I'm gonna have to rewatch some of those old movies, and.
But that's what I'm saying. You gotta rewatch it because
get back to.
They have some points.
But yeah, with with Bubble actually.
Yeah.
Getting back to Bubble.
I went on like a 30-minute tangent on Disney princesses.
I guess for me, no, it's all good. It's all good. I don't mind a little. I don't mind a little tangent, a little off-topic thing. It's all good. Keeps the conversation fun. But yeah, going back to Bubble though, I guess the thing that kind of stood out for me. It's kind of weird because, like, you know, I liked the idea of this world where, you know, these bubbles fell down. Tokyo's effectively been evacuated and, you know, destroyed by this unknown, unexplained phenomena, you know, and then you have all these orphans that, because they got nowhere else to go, you know, they kind of, you know, they go to the city, and they're just kind of there. You know, boys will be boys, as they say, jumping around and, you know, doing the parkour and stuff, and it's dangerous. And they know that, but it's like that's you know, that's their life, right? You know, that's how they find meaning and purpose. But yeah, like you said, it is I guess at its, I don't know if it's at its core. I mean, that's not the right word to use, but it is a love story. But it's an interesting love story in that you have this guy, Hibiki, who keeps himself to himself. You know, he's part of the team, but he's very much a loner as well. You know, like he doesn't really join in when they're doing like the blue blaze is gonna break it, we're gonna burn it all down. Like he kind of sits out a lot of that stuff. And he's kind of comes across as, I mean, you get that he's their star player because he's really good at the Battlekaur game. But he kind of comes across as one of these guys like, do you even want him around? You know, like, because he's so like into his own head and in his own space that it's like, okay, yeah, you're a star player, but like he's not a team player a lot of the time, you know. And he ends up falling into, I think it's called the antlion, I think they called it. this sort of pit where it's really dangerous and stuff, and that's where he meets Uta, the girl who came from the sea foam. And even then, he's not really, he's still keeping to himself. Like, he doesn't really talk to her much, and she just saved his life. He doesn't say anything to her. Didn't even ask her name, or anything. He's like, "You Uta, me Hibiki, you."
Oh
Uta.
no, that's because she can't speak at all.
Yeah. I mean, that point
So
she
he's like,
wasn't
I'm
speaking.
just gonna name you this,
But
because I heard you singing.
Yeah, but it's like he didn't even ask. Is what I mean. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
like she could, well, she could speak, but she wasn't speaking at that point. Or maybe she couldn't speak at that point. I guess either
No.
way, she wasn't saying anything at that point. But yeah, he didn't even ask. He was just like, "Yeah, you saved my life. All right, cool. Let me ignore you for
You
a
are
while."
now. Just point at someone. Hey, you.
Yeah,
Your name
but
is now Kleinfeld. Like,
right,
it's
yeah,
I kind of like my
Uta.
previous name. Thank you.
And it's very much Uta coming onto him, you know, for the for that part. Like, she sees herself as the equivalent of the Little Mermaid, and him as the prince, and when she was when Makoto was reading a story. So it's very much like Uta put herself. We talked a little while ago about where someone says no, you leave him alone, but Uta is very much kind of like in his space a lot, and of course by the end he does care for her, and as she cares for him, but then by then it's very much too late, because like she becomes the foam, after sacrificing herself to save him one last time. So yeah, it's kind of a sad story. Kind of a sad story. Kind of a beautiful story in many respects as well. Kind of an odd story as to it's a lot of things at once, for me. And I think I watched this movie probably at least 5 times. I think 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
And maybe more than that, actually. But I know I watched it quite a few times. Since you first recommended it to me, and kind of watching it then and watching it a few more times in
That way you
recent
can
weeks to
really
kind of
grasp
prepare.
it, because there's a lot of unknown to it. Because they didn't actually explain where the bubbles come from. They didn't explain what spider webs are. Like, there's a lot of unknown. And, like, why did it matter about this location, finally seeing bubbles? So it was just kind of, like, weird not having those explanations. But, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't have everything solved within one movie.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
and I mean, with the bubbles, I guess the whole thing about the bubbles, that it was supposed to be somewhat of a mystery, that they just kind of fell one day 5 years ago, or something like that. But with the spider webs, I felt like, although they didn't specifically say what they are, they kind of do in a very offhanded kind of way. I mean, I got the impression that the spider webs are supposed to be kind of like black holes. As
Right.
spider webs is somewhat the nickname, because you can get stuck in a spider web, right? Well,
Yeah,
you
you'll never
can't,
get
but
out.
it might be a bit big.
But it's
to
like,
get
but
stuck
where
in
did they
spider
come
webs.
from? Like,
Yeah.
did they come from a bursted bubble? Like, where did they come from? That's like the biggest problem that I have from
Yeah.
like okay, you have bubbles here, and then you got spider webs. Like, that doesn't compute. And then you have this force field around Tokyo Tower, where the gravity shifts, and it's like, okay. So there's a lot of weird science that they have. So it's like, you got this weird gravity space here, and then you got spider webs. So it's just like, if you need to rewatch it several times, don't worry, you're probably on par with everyone else in the world, because it doesn't make sense in certain points. But it's still flashy. It's still a uniquely drawn anime.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think there's a lot in that movie that is unexplained. The bubbles, of course, the spider webs. I think they don't really explain that. The antlion pit, the stray bubbles. And they have this character, Makoto, who's studying that whole phenomena.
Right.
But even then, it's like there's not really much known, and I guess that's kind of part of it because it is such this mysterious thing. How much can you know about something so mysterious? Because okay, I think the story they went with is that they literally just kind of started falling someday. And even with like Uta, like they had these parts where Hibiki's like remembering his childhood and when he was a boy with his mom and he's hearing the song. And they show some of these bubbles, right? Which I guess they were implying those bubbles were Uta,
Yeah.
But even that's not really explained either. He just kind of implied that.
Oh no, because Hibiki has hypersensitive hearing. And so the day 5 years ago, he was at Tokyo Tower and he actually addressed like some of the first bubbles, and that was Uta. And he's like, hey, I can hear you. And he reached out and she reached out back. And that was like their first time. So kind of like the shipwreck from The Little Mermaid. She actually saves him the first time when 5 years ago when he was a small kid. And he gets down from Tokyo Tower very safely in the flashback. So that's why he's okay. And that's why Uta follows him. So she's been keeping eye on him. And that kind of explains why he's like decent with parkour. Like he is good at Battlekouring, but the reason why he's like one of the only ones that can actually jump on the bubbles is because she's part of the bubbles, so she like kind of helps him manipulate it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense. I ain't gonna lie, I missed that. I watched the movie
I'm here to help.
I missed that. You know what? Yeah, because the whole thing about him wearing the headphones all the time, I was thinking that's just a lot to do with it. Because he lost his mother and he was kind of a loner and he just wanted to be in his own world. But yeah, the whole thing about hypersensitive. Yeah,
it's totally the hypersensitivity.
And I think they do something where when he takes his headphones off and he can hear all the stuff coming in. So yeah, that's making a lot more sense now.
Right, he's drawn to Tokyo Tower. He goes there quite a bit. So like, there's a scene where he actually like keeps like an like tally marks on how far he can get towards Tokyo Tower. And that's because of his hyper hearing. Every time he gets closer, he's like, I can hear this voice getting louder. Like, and that's supposed to be reminiscent or paying homage to the siren song for Little Mermaid. They don't always have to sing, but it's Little Mermaid. You expect sirens, mermaids to sing to beckon you to your death. So, but I believe this one was actually trying to call Uta back so that all the bubbles can be in unison. So that's why there was like a force field problem. So that's why it was like really important for him to have like this, I would say, hypersensitive hearing, so he could actually move the story along with like, oh, because I'm the only one that can hear it, I should be there to go. So that's what made him like special, not because of his Battlekaur abilities. Because later we see that they buy the special shoes from the one group. What was it? Something Reapers.
Oh yeah, the Undertakers.
Yeah, Undertakers. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Reaper, right? It's close.
Oh, close enough.
But, yeah. But they were cool. I love them. I love their outfits. They were so cool. But yeah, the Undertakers. And like, yeah, he was good at it, but he still had to have help at the end with that. So, yeah. I know my animes. I can help piece it together to make sense.
That's that. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Do you think though that because you were familiar with The Little Mermaid, do you feel like that is it helped you understand this better?
No, because the first time I watched it, I just thought it was really pretty. So I went to see which animation studio it was and what their inspirations were behind it. And then they said like this was a rendition of The Little Mermaid. And I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. So it wasn't like a first time watch it, I get it. I had to do a little bit of research and understand it better. Not saying like, oh, you could get it in one go. It's like, okay, that's pretty, like, guy gets girl, girl saves guy, like, woo, like, that kind of thing. But, no, I didn't, if I hadn't realized, or if it wasn't told to me that it was Little Mermaid, like, off the bat, I would have just thought, like, this girl has a fascination with, like, fairy tales. you know.
Okay.
And like she
Let's,
only remembered the Little Mermaid.
all right, let's talk about a few of the characters. Let's start with well, let's start with Hibiki. We've kind of said a few things about him already, but let's start with him. So yeah, he's the lead, or I guess
The
the
male
main
protagonist.
protagonist. Keeps himself to himself, very very much a loner, even though he's part of the team. What did you think of his character, how he's portrayed, and his development throughout?
Um, so he reminds me a lot of the male lead from Final Fantasy VIII.
Okay.
So I like that about him, but at the same time, it was just a little like, yeah, I guess it's okay, but I don't know what you're doing. But it really developed a little bit of him opening up within the short time frame because like he was really callous to his teammates. And he's like, "Oh, don't leave me here." It's like, "Nope, I got a job to do. See you. Like, we got to win
Oh
this
yeah,
battle."
yeah.
And then it goes from that to like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll show this chick the ropes because she saved me, I guess." And then it's like, "Oh, this is my private area. Like, no one else comes here. It's just me." But then that's when you see him like blossom and open up and start to really have feelings. And it's just like I can't get over the fact that I see like midriff on him and like no one else. And I'm just like, this is really annoying. I hate that. But I wouldn't say his character arc is lackluster. I just think that I don't want to call it one dimensional, but it feels that way to me. So
I mean, like, he doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I guess he doesn't really have. I mean,
like he
he
flatlines, you know, like yeah, he's growing, but that's it.
yeah he kind of goes from I mean, well, yeah, it's a. I guess he changed. No, it's not fair. He does change. He does change a little bit,
Right.
but I guess he doesn't necessarily change in any real major way. You
Agreed.
know, like even at the end where okay, I think he does say something with the team. He says something about I can't remember. He says something about with the team, but even then, like he's not. He's
Like
still not really
he's not giving it
participating.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah. So like he's there and he puts his hand in and goes like this. But at the end he's like, that's so lame. Like, I
mm,
can't believe I just did this with you guys. Like they're like hyping up. It's a battle. Like, let's win it.
mm,
And he's just like, I'm so good. Like I don't need to be with you guys. Like,
yeah,
why am I even here?
right. And
you
that's
know?
kind of what I
Like
mean by like when you have somebody who's that good at a sport, but they're so withdrawn from the actual team. It's like, do you want them around? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
yeah, I feel
it's
like that's
like
like, how much do you? I mean, I guess in their situation, you kind of have to keep them around, right? Because they're all orphans. Where else are you gonna go? But I feel like in
right.
maybe a more say real world situation, if you have a
Mhm.
team where everybody's working together, you got one guy who's like super knowledgeable, super experienced, really good at the thing that you're trying to do, but there's such an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a point you have to say, like, you know what? He might be really good at this job, but he can't be in this team. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
feel
It's
like,
kinda like you're on the bench until we need you.
yeah, Hibiki's kind of like that. Like, I feel like maybe if their situation wasn't what it was, they
Mhm.
might have to just kick him out and be like, dude, if you clearly don't want to be here,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
clearly don't want to be here. Just go. You might be good, but come on. I
Like I
think,
don't mind the lone wolf characters, but this one was a little bit too dry of a lone wolf. You know what I mean?
mm,
So it wasn't like he added a lot of flavor into like who he was. He didn't have like any really great redeeming qualities about him. So
yeah,
yeah, like that's why he's dry and like a really flat. Like yes, I'm getting a little bit more social, and then it's like I'm gonna care about the one girl that saved me, like because she's good at that, like parkouring.
mm,
Okay, nothing else. All right. Yeah. So he's definitely a one-dimensional, flat, dry character showing midriff.
yeah. He didn't seem to. notice Makoto too much though. I think Makoto was trying her luck as well. But yeah,
With
he
Hibiki?
seems. Yeah, that's what it
No,
seems like to me.
I don't think so. I think she was like, I think she cared about him in a motherly way, but I don't think so.
Motherly.
You can you can hug with your boobs out. It's fine. Yeah, I actually don't know how old she is, but I don't think like I won't put it past her if she was interested in him. But from my take, I don't think of her like, oh yeah, I'm totally into him. Because if she was super into him, she wouldn't have been okay with Uta coming back.
Well, she almost didn't tell was it Sheen and the guys about Uta and Hibiki being the only ones who know the song and how they know something about the whole tower that other people don't know. Like even after after they saved her, and they're all going, "Oh yeah, we have to go get Uta. We have to go get Uta." And she almost like didn't say anything. I mean, she did in the end, but yeah, she always kind of kept it to herself because like it seemed to me at least anyway that she like didn't want. Perhaps part of her didn't want them going after her. Like maybe if he stays here, you know, can
I
have him to
guess that's
herself.
one way of
But
looking at it. I didn't think of it that way.
yeah.
Because it's just like, is now a good time? Because these kids are young and reckless. They can do something really bad without like really studying what the situation could be. And if it was like getting more volatile, that'd be really dangerous, especially for Usagi, who's very, I would say, like green. Like he's good at parkour or battlecore, but like he takes too many risks and like he could get hurt.
Oh,
So
Sog, that's the
I
young
think it
kid,
was
isn't it?
say what?
The Sog was a young kid, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was the one
The
kid
little
that
boy.
thought he could jump on the bubble in the opening, and then
Yeah.
he ended up losing the goggles. So it's just like I almost feel like she didn't tell them because of safety, but I could also see it going the other way as of like, oh, I want Hibiki for myself kind of thing, so I'm not going to tell anyone. Or she could have just forgot. They could have just wrote it as like, this bitch didn't think about it.
Yeah.
She got the duh on her mind.
No. Well, I mean, I guess to be fair, like, I mean, nothing. They don't really. Well, I guess one of the other things they don't explain amongst all the things they don't really explain this movie, they don't fully explain that. I mean, I'm interpreting it that way. I guess you interpret it
That's
more
fine.
motherly. I was looking at it like, no, this chick digs him, like, and I think one of the other characters, I think was it Sai? Oh, I'm forgetting the names now. But I think one of the other characters, the one with the one with orange hair, he was saying something like why does he get the attention or
Oh yeah,
she's
the one with the bandana. I totally forget
yeah.
his name. That's gonna bother me. Let me look him up because I don't remember. Let's see. Images? Can we get images? Okay, his name is Kai.
Kai.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Kai.
Um, yeah, like I think he was saying something about you know, why does somebody get attention? It kind of felt like he maybe had his eyes on Makoto himself and was maybe a bit jealous that Makoto had eyes somewhere else.
I could see that. Or like, he wants the same kind of attention.
Yeah. Or maybe maybe it could be just that motherly attention that orphan boys crave. I mean, because they are all orphans, right? And not just orphan boys. I think a lot of the young boys would crave some kind of parental attention. So and since they're all orphans, they all lost their parents. They might be all on some level wanting that motherly love, that kind of care. That deep down he felt missing. So yeah, I guess it still can go both ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because, like, I do have a son, and, like, yeah, right now he's starting daycare-ish. Like, it's a slow process. But it's so funny because, like, he loves being with me more than dad. but he says dad. But it's just like, no, you want to be with mom. So if I walk away, he's like, no. And he comes following me, like, with his little arms out. He's getting better at walking. Like, he's great at walking, but he's going so fast now that he's, like, got to try to keep his arms out to, like, stable it. And now if he just kind of, like, swaggers, he can't do this kind of walking. He just walks like that. You know, he's a toddler. But, you know, like, being a mother and seeing, like, oh, yeah, kids just want that, like, love given to them and, like, returned and just, like, showered with, like, hugs and kisses and, like, sweet things and told that they're, like, great, fantastic. It makes you feel good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I guess they're missing that. They literally are missing that.
Especially at developmental age in teenage years. Like, if you do good, you want someone to praise you. Like, everyone loves to hear achievement, like, achievement kind of good energy words towards them. And it's like, sometimes it's enough to, like, make or break someone just to have someone, like, tell you congratulations. And you just, next thing you know, you just, like, start choking down and crying. Like, did I really do good? Like, you know what I mean? Because if you were an orphan and, like, the person that you look up to is like, wow, you did amazing. It's like, really? You mean my parents can't tell me? So, you know, that's where I'm coming from. Like, saying, someday my kid's going to be like that. I'll be like, oh, wow, you're so smart. You're such a good boy. You want a treat?
Jump.
Give me paw. Yeah. High five.
You know, I think there's a lot of truth to that, though. Like, because, I mean, I know there's times where it's like, you can, you know, live your life, do whatever you're doing, and go so long without anybody giving you any kind of acknowledgement that you're doing well or that you're doing something cool or whatever. Nobody says nothing. Of course, when you screw up, everybody's quick to say something then.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody says nothing when you're doing well. And then one day, you know, somebody's like, hey, that's really cool, or nice one, or thank you, or just whatever it is. It's just a kind of acknowledgement. And of course, it's always the, yeah, don't worry about it, man. It's cool, man. It's cool. You kind of act like it doesn't matter, but it does. It does. You know, like that just acknowledgement that somebody noticed that you did something nice and that you're not just screwing up. Because like when all you hear is like somebody saying something or you do something wrong, you start to believe that maybe you are just a screw up. You know what I mean? So like that one person that acknowledges you did something cool or did something nice or whatever, and it's like, yeah, don't worry about me, don't worry about it, yeah, it's cool. But nah, man, it's more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually know someone. I don't know if I call them a friend just yet. They used to be a friend, and then some drama happened. But anyways, this person that I know, they actually have a parent that tears them down. So they're exactly the opposite of like, oh, am I a screw up? How do I do this right? And they're over analytical because they never got that like, oh, you did this right, like good job, kind of like treatment. And
okay, hello, Celeste, we still here? Okay, Celeste has frozen. Oof, what's going on, Celeste? Uh-oh, we are experiencing technical difficulties.
Oh no, I'm still here.
Back? We back?
Yeah, okay. I was talking to you the whole time. I didn't realize that my stuff disappeared, and then it told me that I got disconnected. I was like, no, I'm talking about something important.
Yeah, it just froze up for a bit. I think you got up to about your friend. You said something about your friend who was like, they had all the parents were tearing them down, and I think one about there's where it froze.
Okay, so this person that I know actually has a parent that tears them down in a sense of like, they don't say, okay, you did this correct. So say washing the bathtub is done a certain way, and that way you get rid of the line scale. Instead of like, oh, okay, I did it this way and this way. And then they'll be like, but why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And that actually really impacts the development scale of like adolescence. So it's just like, if there's too many adolescents that don't actually get that positive reaffirmation, you actually get a really negative society that becomes over analytical and doesn't actually progress. And it's
Yeah.
kind of sad in that aspect because like maybe that's what's happening in Bubble from Kai, because he's like, I want that too. I want someone to care, like, oh yeah, you worked so hard, and then it's just like, okay, well Hibiki got the flag, but I was still there competing. So why can't I like also be cared about in the same way? Because she was like, Makoto was like, oh, Matoka, yeah. She was like overly overly worried because Kai and Usagi and the other dude was already there at the beginning, like battling. They could have fucking like broke their arm, and then Hibiki come out of nowhere and was like, "Okay, ping, I got the flag." And then she's like, "Oh my god, Hibiki, you're amazing!" It's like, bitch, you're a championship hoe. That's what you're doing. Because he won the battle, you don't care about the rest of the other people. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. No.
Yeah, she clearly had her favorites. whether it's Motherly or something else, she clearly had her favorites.
Yeah, so like the positive reaffirmation shit, like you guys have to like if you're parents and you're listening, it's very important to have positive words because they will affect your children in a more meaningful way, and they won't become super psychoanalytical and be like always in their head, because if they keep second guessing, you'll never move forward.
No, for sure. You know, constantly worried about whether you're doing something right or wrong, or you know, constantly feeling like, oh, yeah, maybe I should wait till somebody tells me what to do, and it's like, no, you need to, move.
Yeah, it was kind of sad.
You have to think for yourself, and
because like minor like talk about that person. Like I'm like, okay, just help me fill out the dishwasher, and they're like, okay. I'm like, yeah, okay, so just help me fill out the dishwasher. And they're like, okay, so I just put it in like this. Is this okay? Can I do this? Like, do you put this here? I'm like, just put it inside. It doesn't matter. Like, it's going to get washed anyways. Like, just put the silverware in, put the plates here, and then cups, it's okay, as long as they're in the top rack. Now, if they're too big for the top rack, put them in the bottom. And then he's like, okay, so I can put this here. Yeah, I can. And I'm just like, yes! Just let me, like, at that point, it's like, I already did it. Don't ask next time. Don't ask to help if you can't help without being so full of anxiety.
All right, then, okay, let's talk a little bit about Uta, the second main character now. The girl that formed from bubbles and modeled herself after. Was that? I don't know what that was, by the way. Was that supposed to be? You might know. Was that supposed to like a reference to something? The girl she modeled herself after, because she saw that picture and changed into that picture of the girl.
I didn't really look up into that a little bit more, but it's supposed to be just like an idol kind of thing, just to kind of make her like look cute. So
okay, so it's okay. No, that's cool. So I was thinking it's probably because I guess it's like somebody famous in their world, right? But I was thinking maybe it's a reference to another anime or something like that. But maybe not. But yeah, she models herself after the girl and can't talk initially, learns to talk.
Yeah,
gets relatively quickly. She's been spying on this Hibiki dude for a long time. Eventually, shows herself to save his life. Forces herself into his life and hounds him until like he loves her, pretty much. Like he just follows him around until he loves her. What did you think about her and her character development?
It was a little slow for me. Like the whole like, oh, look at me be like naive and not know shit because I was a bubble first and I turned into a human. It's like, you've been watching humans this long and you still don't fucking know shit? Like, okay. Or are you just so excited that you're just happy to see an egg and fuck around with chickens? Like, I don't know. I didn't love her per se. I was more annoyed. And that's like a new one, because it's like normally I fall for like the female leads or female protagonists. But for her, I was just like, meh? Like, really? Like, okay, you can't speak, you can't do that. Okay, you could kind of do parkour, that's cool. If that's your only redeeming quality, then you ain't a character for me. So, that's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, she was. Well, I guess they're all kind of odd. To be fair, really, they're all kind of odd. Um, but yeah, she was like, okay. So I mean, I understand that she's no newly human, but I guess when we have characters in the past where they're newly human or say new to the human world, they have a different type of curiosity. Like she just seemed like wild, you know,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
like just mad wild. Like was it like chasing the chickens around or something and destroying all the eggs? It's like okay, um, I mean that's beyond the curiosity. That's just like what are you doing? you know.
Like
But yeah, she just seemed like an odd character. Like she wasn't really. I mean, what do we know about her fundamentally? Like we know, okay, we know that she came from the bubbles because we see that. I guess we could kind of ascertain, if you will, that she's wanted to be in the human world for a while. Um, with the whole Little Mermaid references and stuff.
mhm.
But it's like
But
okay, but
yeah, like not to interject, but like when I think of Uta, I also kind of like relate to her of the no, I don't like I compare her to the Fifth Element chick, Lilu, because she was made
right,
from
okay,
an arm, like a severed arm, and it's like you're newly human, but you fucking figured that shit out. You're just fine. But Uta, like you've been watching humanity for the last
hmm,
5 years, so it's just kind of like you have both these science fiction kind of like takes, and Lilu like learned English, learned all these things, and learned martial arts. Versus Uta, it's just like okay, you're doing this, you're kind of like crazy, messy, but it's just kind of like savage a bit. And it's like okay, and then eventually, finally, you learn you learn some language skills, but it's just kind of like at that point you don't have much to redeem for. You're a little
hmm.
solidified as like a psychotic wild chick, and it's just like I imagine you being a little bit more. I think they wanted it to be more innocent and like cutesy, like oh I don't know any better. Oh oops, yay! It's like okay, I guess.
Hmm.
No, but you can see like there's Lilu kind of like oh I was just human, and then there's like Uta kind of human. It's just kind of like yeah.
Hmm. I guess kind of like with similar to Hibiki, she somewhat keeps, I guess, things to herself as well. Like she didn't tell anybody about the fact that she's, from the bubbles and that she could eventually turn back to bubbles at any moment because her hand was still, her fingers were still foam or partly
Mhm.
foam. So she wore the gloves to cover it. Didn't really tell anybody about that. So I guess in that respect, there's a similarity between her and Hibiki about just keeping things to themselves, and but yeah, I get, and again, it's like okay, I get that, I understand that much, but as far as this being a story and these characters that we're following, ultimately, it's like, like how much can you care about somebody when they tell you when there's so little that you know about them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just there's like not that much, and then it's just he starts blushing at her because she's keeping pace with him doing parkour, and I would say like if that's keeping you guys like together, then it's like a couple doing like workouts at a gym stays together because of that, and then that kind of thing. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you
So
sneezing?
I muted the microphone. I think you still had it though.
I
I
still
think
heard
you
it.
still had it. Yeah, you still had it.
Yeah,
Muted on my yeah, a little bit of a. All right, cool. We good.
it's okay.
I'm
Because I
sorry.
was like talking about how like
Just
couples go to
violated
the
your
gym
ears
and
for a
then
second.
like well not couples but like individuals go to the gym and then they see someone else and then they like pick
Hmm.
up each other at the gym and then like that's kind of what Uta and Hibiki is to me because it's like, oh yeah, we're doing parkour, and I like you because you did parkour, yay. So, like, someone hooking up at a gym.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah, yeah, that's pretty much, isn't it? It's like
it's like
it,
one-dimensional.
yeah. I mean, it's these two characters that they're not bad people or anything like that, but it's just not much good for them either, you know.
Yeah, they're. I would lack of better words, just call them generic anime people. That sounds kind of mean, but it's like,
Who for you then was the most interesting character in this movie?
Oh, in this movie, the most interesting character, the dude that had the broken leg,
Oh,
like the missing
Shin.
leg. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
what happened to you? Why do you have this problem? Why you're so knowledgeable? You're older too, so like he was also like kind of refereeing. So it's like, this guy's been around and done shit. So it's like, okay, so you have actually a backstory that's interesting because you lost a limb and you are an ex parkour runner, like ex Battlekaur runner. And so now you're just taking care of these orphan kids. And I think that's really
Mm.
cool because, like, that shows so much about his character of being a leader, being someone that, like, a lot of people can look up to, not only as a leader, but like a father figure too, or older brother figure. So it's just like, he's really knowledgeable. Plus, like, he has his own, like, wounds too and scars. So I think he's, like, one of the coolest characters in that show. Especially his end outfit. It's like, oh shit, what?
Yeah, I liked his character. I liked it because yeah, for similar reasons to yourself. As like this older guy. He used to do the Battlekaur. He got injured, so like, and how did you say he was being reckless and he ended up getting injured. He's someone who's tried to get to the tower as well and pushed himself, but couldn't make it all the way. But yeah, now he's like stays back to make sure that these kids are staying safe because like he knows how dangerous it is. So he knows what can go wrong and that whole thing. Um, so yeah, he's very much like this old mentor. You know, I'm not sure if he coaches them. Like I don't think he's part of the team that specifically, but he's definitely someone who is with them, if not necessarily directly with them. In fact, they do say something about, oh yeah, she's finally joining us for a Battlekaur run or something. Um, but yeah, he's someone that had he had a past. He had a reason to be there, and when it came to the end, he had a reason to step out back into the Battlecore arena as well. Because yes, it's dangerous. Yes, he doesn't really do it anymore. But it's like, look, this is something that they got to do. I'm trying to keep them safe. They're going to do this anyway. I know this place, so I'm just going to have to push myself out there again. And so yeah, he goes out, leads the way, and tries to get Hibiki as
Right?
close as he can.
Like a blaze of glory moment. It was like so amazing. Like he comes out and it's like, Wah! I was so excited.
But yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
he definitely was the most standout character for me as well. Um, I feel like his character though could almost have its own movie. You know what I mean? Like maybe even like a
like a mini side
prequel or
movie to go
something.
like add
Yeah.
on.
How Sheen broke his shin.
Oh, Shin lost his shin. Shin got his shin back. But yeah, no, I think it would be really cool because like it would be really interesting to see just kind of like the evolution of how Battlecore became and with the rules and like how he said, not him specifically, but if he was the one that actually set it up. And I was thinking like maybe it would have been really cool to see him like invent Battlecore and was like the one to pass it down to like the next generation.
Hmm.
So then like all these other people were like, oh, watching him do it. So they created their own styles and like quote unquote kind of like what happened with Christianity. Like there's a lot of people who believe in Christianity, but there's many sub branches of it. So
Hmm.
it would just be really cool if like that happened because he was like one of the first ones of Battlecore and then he could pour it into other people. And that's why he's a referee. So it could have been like he was a teenager starting out as an orphan and then like now he's like in his 20s, and that's why he's taking care of all these other orphan kids, like an older brother kind of thing. That would be like super cool. You'd watch it. I know you would.
I'd watch that. I would. I mean, yeah, definitely cool to see what happened. You know, I feel like because all we know about the whole thing is that, you know, the bubbles fell 5 years ago. The orphans came into the city, and the Battlekaur was started sometime within that period. And I don't think they say their ages, but he doesn't seem to be. I guess he's older, but not like massively older. You know, he's
not like 30s and they're in their teens. Like he's probably at the max 25.
Yeah, so if he didn't invent Battlekaur, it's very feasible that he was amongst the first to do it. You know, if not the very first, you know, amongst the first. And then because it was maybe so new while he was doing it, you know, you don't know the limits. You don't maybe really fully realize how dangerous it is. And then, you know, trying to push himself out there, and he ends up breaking and losing his leg. You know, something like that. I mean, I'm sure they could find a more interesting way of telling that story. But
right,
yeah,
or just make a completely new story and still use the idea of Battlekaur. I'd be okay with it.
Indeed. Yeah, if you want to get that made, Netflix, you can throw us a few points as well.
I have stories to tell Netflix. You want me to, like, you need a writer? You need some ideas? I'm here.
Yeah, for real, man. Hit us up, man. Hit us up. All right. Yeah, I'm just going through my vlogs. I think we said quite a bit, or I don't know. I mean, I felt, put it this way. I mean, you've definitely understood the movie way better than I did. So even though I watched it a bunch of times, I think you definitely understood it way better than I did. So what else could we say about this film that we haven't said already?
Like, it was really stupid how they just randomly threw in, like, the red bubbles out of nowhere, and then it's like, oh yeah, these red bubbles can actually attack you now. Remember that at the ending when Uta reunites inside the bubble in Tokyo Tower, and then it's like, oh, you're taking away my sister, and it's like, oh, evil bubbles now, woo.
Oh yeah. I can't lie, I was struggling to pay attention to that bit.
Like, it just doesn't, like, okay, I understand, like, how they wanted Uta to get back to, like, the mermaid route, aka the bubble route.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I only have a sister, it's not my sisters. But it's just like, so is this just like a dark version of you that you're calling your sister because if we're supposed to relate it to the Hans Christensen, like, Little Mermaid story, or is this actually just the entity that you're part of and you broke off of? Because it's still strange, right? Like, before all of it came down, like, it started coming down, but it was only Hibiki when he was in Tokyo Tower, and he's like, I can hear you, and, like, she actually connected with him at Tokyo Tower, but that doesn't mean that, like, all of the bubbles didn't connect with him. Or was it that one singular moment that one bubble became sentient enough to break away? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, okay, but your sister's the one causing the gravity sphere in Tokyo Tower. It's just really weird because it's like, why would this be a thing? But if it's like, okay, well, the hero has to save a girl, so this is what we have. Not really happy with that, but it's like, oh, I'm Uta, and now these really bad, evil sister brothers are gonna try to attack the man that I love. I'm gonna slowly become birds and butterflies and protect him from these bubbles and protect the rest of the world from these bubbles. Yay! But now I'm turning into sea foam bubbles. Oh, I'm dying. Bye, Hibiki. Yeah.
But I guess that's part of the issue with the film, though. In general, though, that I mean, I get that they wanted to, you know, keep certain things mysterious and keep some things, you know, mystery or whatever. But at the same time, maybe it kept just a few too many things a mystery. Whereas, like, we know so little about where, you know, Uta comes from and their history and what's important to them, and, you know, whether her breaking away from that was a good thing or a bad thing. You know, there's so much that we just don't know about, the bubble culture, right? That so by the time we see the sister, trying to get her to come back, and it's like, okay, it looks bad because we know Uta's falling in love with this boy, and it's like, oh, it's a little love, but at the same time, we don't know what it means for her to break away from the bubble
Hmm.
world, and whether that's could be causing more danger, whether that could be hurting them, whether that could be destroying something. We don't really know why she's holding her, trying to get it to come back. It's just all assumed, because they are making references to the Little Mermaid, but at the same time, it's not the Little Mermaid. It's Uta and the bubbles and
Yeah.
everything else. So whatever the Little Mermaid was doing in her world might not necessarily be what's going on in the bubble world, and the consequences of Uta breaking away could be catastrophic for all we know. Like, we don't.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird too, because like this isn't the only animation that focuses on world destruction and the Little Mermaid, like fairy tale. Like, I don't know. Have you watched Ponyo?
I don't think. No, I haven't. No.
You haven't watched Ponyo?
No.
Okay, I can't discuss this part because it's slight spoiler. But when you get there, it's another little. Okay, we're just gonna have a full Little Mermaid. Like, you gotta watch all this Little Mermaid shit. You gotta watch the old 1999 movie. You gotta watch the new live action, and then you gotta watch fucking Ponyo. So I can go on this tangent after we talk about Bubble.
Disney movies, I guess, are coming up a lot. Yeah, I've got Disney Plus. It's all good.
Okay. Just let me know when you got all of it done. I'll be gone for 2 weeks. We can come back and reconvene. You got 2 weeks to do homework. Mommy homework. But it's just kind of weird, Little Mermaid kind of went, hey, there's world destruction. Let's start with destroying Japan first, because it's an island. It's kind of silly. But Japan loves having like destruction
Japan
happen to Tokyo.
Huh? Oh wait, no, you mean I get what you mean. Sorry, the bubble meant destroying Japan. Sorry.
Yeah, I went straight back to Bubble. I'm not talking about Ponyo.
Sorry, I got confused. My bad.
It's okay.
Bubble's
I didn't segue that properly. Well, bad. But yeah, just the whole like idea of the bubbles are like getting unstable. It's going to cause more catastrophic events. It's like, is it really causing catastrophic events, or is it just like making daily life harder? Because it seems like these kids are having a great time doing Battlekaur, and it became a spectator sport anyways. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on Battlekaur? Would you do it if you were a teenager? Would you do it? And now at your age where you are now, would you try to do it?
I think at my teenage years, yeah, it's something that I probably would have tried. I mean, I skated when I was that age. I did rollerblades, skateboarded a little bit as well. I think parkour wasn't around when, at least I don't think it was around when I was a teenager. Certainly not in any way that I would have heard of anyway. So I didn't get into that. But yeah, I mean, you do all kinds of like stunts when you're a kid, like climbing up walls, trees, and jumping down the stairs, and all kinds of mad stuff that we used to do. So yeah, stuff like Battlekaur. I don't know if I would have got into it in that way, like in that kind of competitive way. But yeah, I think it's something that I would have at least tried, in my teenage years. Now, hell no. No way. Not a chance. Nah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's cool to try different things and take risks and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I'd have to. I mean, I wouldn't mind trying something like parkour and trying to learn how to do that. But yeah, even then, I think I'd want cushions and and bouncy castles and stuff. You know what I mean?
I'm not that adventurous.
Battlecore seems like it might be a bit much for me now. Maybe in my younger days, but yeah, I ain't trying to take those kind of risks these days. I do plan on jumping out of an airplane though. So
you've jumped out of an airplane?
Not yet, but I do want to. One of the things I want to do in my life is jump out of an airplane, with a parachute. not just jumping out of an airplane. I want, with a parachute, rip cord and float down. It's something that I want
We're
to do.
losing fams again. We're losing fam. We're back?
Oh wait, is it froze again?
Nope, we're coming back in. Coming back in.
Okay, I can hear you. But, there you are. There you are. Now you're moving.
I can hear me.
There you move. Okay, cool.
Does it help if I actually move this time?
Yeah, I can see you're moving now. You froze a bit, but I was still able to hear you.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'm frozen in a cute picture.
Now you're unfrozen.
Okay, that's fine.
And I can hear you. Cool.
Woohoo!
But yeah, so I mean, Battlekaur, it looks cool. I feel like it'd be a cool sport in the real world, in an X Games type arena. But yeah, you'd have to have like all kinds of safety regulations, and the way they do it in this movie is no, that's a no. That's a huge no. But if you had something where it was like, maybe you had something soft for them to land on if they fall, or definitely not doing it in abandoned buildings or wreckages and stuff like that, but maybe something that was built specifically for it. So I guess really what parkour is, but just, maybe built more in that style.
Not so urban jungle, like a gymnasium that's safe.
And, without the bubbles that you jump on, because in real life you can't really jump on
I don't know how you would do that. But
not go well if you try to jump in a bubble, I think.
I mean, I think that would be fun to have floating trampolines in the air, but that's like the most dangerous thing I've ever conjured up, maybe.
I mean,
because that's like the closest thing.
You could probably, let's say you invented like a drone that was strong enough to withstand the force of a person jumping on it, and that you could just build a drone and it holds up this trampoline, and you could just jump in it in midair.
You know what it could do? What if it doesn't have to be a drone holding the trampoline? What if it's actually a drone that is already flying to your spot, and then it launches a trampoline to you, and then you have to time it to jump on the trampoline because it's already being with the force from the drone. And then after you press on it, the drone goes back and catches the trampoline and resets automatically. Or it's like computer control,
so
you
that
control
throws
it.
out a trampoline, and you got to try and land on the trampoline while it's moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be.
It's like the next level,
I mean, you have a lot of dead kids.
I mean,
it would get
that's
ratings.
one way of putting it.
A lot of people
could be in a zero gravity situation. It could be okay. We're not there yet, but maybe.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing a Squid Game, a real life Squid Game, right? So I don't know. We might not be too far from it. So.
Oh my gosh, no. Have you seen that Mr. Beast reused that same set for his first ever Olympics?
I don't follow Mr. Beast too much, so.
Oh, I do. I enjoy some of his content, not all of it. Like the ones where he shows off money really makes me mad, but the competition ones, I know they take a lot of time and effort to make, but it's I appreciate those. But the money ones where he's like, look at this $50 million yacht. I'm like, I don't want to know this.
Yeah.
This just makes me disappointed in humanity that this exists.
Yeah, $50 million? I did see one about 50. Was it a yacht? Different types of yachts, like a cheap yacht, an expensive yacht, and a bloody expensive yacht. I saw one video about that. It was kind of okay, that's nice, that's cool. Things you can never afford, right? So, all right, but they exist. Somebody owns that, I guess. Somebody built it and sold it. Yeah. And ended up in a YouTube video, because I'm sure that was the intention of when they built that yacht. It be in a YouTube video.
Well, I mean, when you have someone like Mr. Beast with 30 million people following, I think that's actually good to have that, because that's so many views. And his content gets cycled over and over and over, so more people will find it. And he does good. I do think he does good for the general economy. He's like the Taylor Swift of YouTube. But that being said, it's just kind of if he has this much power and pull, it's because he did it through philanthropy and good entertainment that's not I wouldn't say like the cuntiness of like current modern day film, which sounds really mean. But it's just like in modern day film, you can either chalk it down to some kind of cheating or sexual relationship that's not supposed to be happening, some kind of like treachery, and then some like, and then some, yeah, like it's usually that or some drug abuse, you know. So it's like, oh, you weren't supposed to be doing this. It's against the law. That's part of treachery. Some kind of cheating thing. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, she was underage. Well, yeah, you shouldn't have been doing that. And then the other thing is like, oh yeah, this person's totally into drugs, and it's just like, well, yep, called that one. So you normally just break it down to that, and it's not really entertaining at that point because we've seen that cycle of like, oh yeah, well, we don't know where else to go with this story, so we're just gonna make this character fall in love with this character now, and it's just like, okay, modern film, television is just like they're exhausted. Get someone else that's good and stop using books because you can't do faithful adaptations anymore. Like, stop it. So like seeing Mr. Beast's content is actually like really wholesome because he made his platform on YouTube through giving away things and making it better for other people and not just for himself.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know he's done a lot of good stuff in terms of like helping, like whether it's poor people or helping, you know, people in need and things like that, and various charities that he's done, or you know, things that he's set up and stuff like that. I know he gets a lot of backlash for various things as well. You know, you can't please everybody. That's just the way of the world.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, I don't follow him a great deal, but for what I can tell, he seems to do a lot of good work. I mean, I ain't gonna try and sing his praises too much because apparently he's done some creepy stuff too. So, but like I said, I don't follow the guy that much, so you know, I let the internet argue that out.
It's fine.
Let the internet argue that stuff out, but yeah. I mean, they call it Mr. Beast, so I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I'm just like, if anyone was to have like a Battlekaur kind of arena, it'd probably be one of his videos.
But yeah, would you do a Battlekaur in real life?
No. I didn't think about that because it's like, as cool as it seems, you know, I'm not, I have really weak lungs. I can't run fast. I'm not like a gymnast. I've tried multiple kinds of sports and things to like be active and such, which, you know, I'm not like hating on it, but I also know my center of gravity is off a lot. And that's one, because of the number of years wearing high heels, two, giving birth, and three, weight difference. So my center of gravity is always changing. So it's unfortunate, but oh well. So no, as much as I would like to try, I will for the safety of my son, no. Because if I get hurt, my son gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you get to a point where it's like, you know what, I don't need to be taking those kind of risks, you know. But yeah, I get that. Do you reckon you would have done it in your younger days though? Your pre-mummy days.
I think if I had, I probably would say no, only because like I could never do like really good running. I was never fast. If it's all about like capture the flag, I will lose. Like, I'm not in the mood to lose. So I'm gonna say no because I like to win, and if I know I'm gonna lose, I don't want to just go in knowing I'm gonna lose. So if it's like just for the sport of me running around, okay, but Battlekaur where I have to actually win, capture the flag, no. Especially if I need to like survive by winning. It's like, oh yay, there goes our gas. We're gonna not have heat for the rest of the week. It's like, oh, cold showers? No, absolutely not. You better fucking get that back. I'm just saying. Okay. So there's consequences in losing.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, there's. Yeah, I mean, especially something like. Actually, you know what? Wait. To be fair, in Bubble, what happens if they lose? I guess we don't really know because they don't really use money.
About it. They don't
what
lose
did they
money; they
lose?
lose rations.
Oh wait, yes, that's right. Yes, they did say that. Yeah. The food and
Yeah.
stuff, and yeah.
When when the first battle goes through, the Blue Blaze versus the other guys lost, so they had to give up like 3 bags of rice, and that's a lot. So they lost like a month, like 3 months worth of like rice, if not more. Depends on how much they
No,
eat,
my
but you know.
bad. Yeah, no, I do remember. Yeah, they did say that about the rations and the food and stuff. So yeah, those other guys were just starved then, I guess. You know, they're just dead
They're
off, and
just
it's
gonna.
like, well, because I guess in their world, in at least in the Tokyo bit, food rations is got to be. You'd have to imagine it's somewhat scarce. Like it's not like they can just grow their own crops that easily. I mean, they can grow some stuff, I'm sure, but it's not like they can grow in abundance, right?
Right.
So you got to imagine that food and various other resources are pretty scarce within the Tokyo bubble sphere, right? So yeah, like you lose bag of rice, it's like you dead. Like you're
Yeah,
not competing
especially like
next.
if you only have chickens and rice and like you don't have like a lot of condiments or something. Like it doesn't seem like it's bad, but it's just like, oh, but what if you got that rice from like your parents like saying, okay, yeah, we'll support you if you bring back like if like your parents are supporting you in a Battlekaur match and they're like, we'll put up one of our bags of rice, and then if you can have someone else support you for the other two, we'll use that as leverage. So like you guys are okay. Like, can you imagine having like a small farm and then they give you a bag of rice, which is a lot of work, and then they're like, okay, the competitive team is three jugs of like fuel or something like that, and it's just like, dude, that's a lot. So if you lose that, either side has to have something comparable on the scale.
Mm,
But it's just like, but it depends on where it comes from, because you can't just give fuel from nowhere. You have to get that somewhere. And
yeah.
it's just like, are you diving for this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So it's like they have to have some kind of benefactor, and like there are people watching them do it too. So it's kind of like a betting thing.
Yeah, they
So
do have contact with the outside world, or at least the Undertakers do, because they were live streaming, and they were even talking about their numbers going up and their finances going up. So money does, I guess, have to play uh, some what's the word I'm trying to say? There it has to play some
some merit, some
role
weight. Yeah.
in their world. Otherwise, why would they want money? Why would the Undertakers need or want money? Um,
Right.
if it doesn't matter. So it'd have to matter in some degree, if not directly within the sphere.
The bubble sphere.
It might be that they can move in and out of the world, or at least the Undertakers can, and where they use money to buy regular stuff and get fancy shoes and whatever
Yeah.
else.
Because that is something that was like really strange, because it's just like, oh, we'll sell you our shoes. And it's like, that's kind of sketch. Like,
Yeah.
will these even fit us? Like, how does that even work? Like, you want me to wear girls' heels? Like,
All got
not a bad
circumcised
thing if you
feet.
can fit it. But if that's where the tech is to make you get to Tokyo Tower, it's kind of strange. But yeah, it doesn't mean that money would stop. It's just this is how some people spend their time, and they use like food and gasoline as leverage. So they might actually have like other jobs, or like Shin
Mm.
probably is like, okay, I'm your benefactor and sponsor, so like I'll put up 3 gallons of gas that I worked for. So I don't know, maybe it's like that, because that wasn't something that they actually went into detail of, like where do they get like the supplies for the earnings.
Mm. Yeah. Yes, another thing that was unexplained in this movie.
They're just like, it just exists. They're
Yeah.
gonna give up 3 gallons of fuel. It's like, but where did that come from? I don't know.
This bubbles it came from the bubbles. Just came out of the air. Just
Just
appeared.
bubbles.
I guess to be fair though, we're talking about a world where bubbles just randomly fell. I guess just based off of that, you can be like, well, nothing needs to make sense really.
At that point, no.
Yeah, it
No,
doesn't
because
really
it's
need to
just
make
like,
sense.
you don't know what happens.
It's
It
just
just is what happens.
bubbles.
But I think that's like it.
Bubbles
like
and a girl
dissecting it.
that made herself out of bubbles, turn herself into a picture.
Speaking of picture, did you actually think it was a really pretty anime though?
Oh, the style you mean, or?
Yeah, the style and like the visuals.
Oh yeah, no, the visuals were really cool. Uh, let's look at some of them now. Actually, yeah, the visuals really cool, really nice. Very kind of they. I think when they made this, they very much knew what they wanted to do in terms of it felt like it was definitely more a visual what's the bloody word what's the thing what's the that is more a visual thing um
Yeah.
than a story. You know what I mean? Like it felt like as you're watching it, it is more about the visuals than the story. More
Hmm.
about how things looked, and not to say the story. I mean, there is clearly a story, but it just felt like it was more about even like when you
Uh oh.
see things like
Are we?
Frozen again. Ah, damn it. Okay, Celeste's frozen again. No, the sound's gone as well. What is going on? What is going on? And hopefully, can you hear me? Or I don't. Well, ish. Well, I can't hear you. So if you can't hear me and you responded to that,
I'm
I
back
wouldn't know. Oh, there we
somewhere.
go. There we go. There
Oh
we go.
yeah.
I can hear you back.
I don't
I
know
can hear you
what's
now.
going on with the internet, but I am uploading a video on my cell phone. And if it's all doing shitty, then I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's like not even a 4K video, and it's like having the hardest time. And YouTube was like saying, "Oh, by the way, it's gonna take you 9 hours to upload this." I'm like, "What?
9 hours.
Why?"
Yo, I'd cancel that and start it again.
Oh,
9 hours.
this is the second time I've done it because the
Oh,
first one
okay.
was
Never
11
mind then.
hours, and I'm like, "This is stupid." Okay, let's just
Oh
see
well,
if
at
it
least it went
uploads
down then.
overnight. And if it, huh?
At least it went down.
It did. I don't know. I gotta make sure that
nine
it went through.
hours.
And if it doesn't,
Damn.
I'll just be like, "Well, shit.
Imagine you
What's
get
going
to
on?"
like 8 hours 59 minutes and it's like there was an upload error. Oof. That'd be
Oh, that pissed me off.
yeah,
That
that
would
would be
piss me off
mad.
so bad. Son of a
Right
bitch.
in the last second. It hangs on like 99.99%. Like
Let's double check. Do. Anyways,
but yeah, what was I saying? Like, yeah, it felt like even it felt more of a visual thing than a story thing because even those scenes where they are doing a battle call, just the way like the camera kind of follows the characters, like it just felt more like, and even like the music kind of draws you into the way the visuals are as well. Like it just felt like this is more of a cool visuals, and they knew they must have known they got cool visuals,
right.
and so everything looks kind of really epic and really kind of like exaggerated and that kind of thing, right? So yeah, I feel like that's that to me at least anyway. It seems like that's what they wanted to do, just make it more of a focus on the visuals than the story. There is a story somewhere in there.
There's a story.
Might
It's
even have a
just
plot
very
too.
linear. Meh.
But yeah,
But
no,
yeah, it's
definitely some
really
real cool
pretty.
visuals
I
in there.
liked it. But there's just too much to the unknown and not explained.
Mm.
That's
All right
okay.
then. Um, well, I think that's to my mind. I think that's everything about Bubble to say. Unless was there anything else about this movie that you wanted to mention?
No, but go ahead and go watch it. Let us know what you guys think with the comment down
Yeah.
below. Did you like it or hate it? Do you feel like it's meh too?
Indeed, yeah. I think above all, it is still worth watching. You know, as much as we just talked about some of the things we don't quite like, and might sound like we hate it at some parts, but yeah, I think overall it is still worth watching, even if you're not really into these types of movies. It's still an interesting film to watch and just appreciate whether you just appreciate the visuals, appreciate what they did with it, and yeah, maybe not much of a story in the end, but yeah, it's still worth checking out. And it's only like an hour 40, so it's not a long movie, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a nice, like, somewhat refreshed way of saying The Little Mermaid, and like still keeping like somewhat true to the storyline of what it is. So, yay, tragedy!
All right, all right,
But
all
yeah, that's
right. Well, in that case, this is where we'll be ending this episode of the Uncivilized Art Podcast. Thank you for watching and or listening. Big up to Celeste all day, every day. Make sure you check out Bunny Over the Moon and all the cool stuff Celeste is doing over on her YouTube channel as well. Yeah, drop any suggestions of things you like us that too. Drop any suggestions of things you want to hear us talk about. And yeah, we can say we can do. But until whenever, if ever, peace.